My grandmother told me I'd be a millionaire by the time I'm 30 years old. But as I went on this quest, I succeeded. But what happened was I gave up love, and I gave up life, and I gave up health. And even all the bad things that happened to us, they are true gifts for us too. They shouldn't be forgotten. They shouldn't be swept under the carpet. Like, learn from those things, embrace those things. Those are your medicine.
Even if we believe that, okay, I'm good with this, that there is always maybe a next level.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best investor in the world, Warren Buffett, says the number one thing is
Hello everybody, we are here today in order to find out more information about how you can make money, but at the same time, how to have a balance in your life. And I bet that you think that this cannot happen in the real life, but I have here one of my guests that can give us more information about how we can achieve this in his life. Hello, Hal.
hello.
Hal, thank you very much for your time for today. I have some questions for you, and I would like to know first, because we just finished now the Kenya tour and the African Youth Leadership Summit, and you saw the transformation in students both here and also to GLS at Tony Robbins, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first I want to ask you, why do you think that these kind of summits are important for teenagers, this kind of leadership summits?
Well, Ellie, I think what we just got through the African Youth Leadership Summit proved to see the benefits of how it can transform a young adult's mind. You know, from coming from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset can change everything. I grew up in a very low middle class family, the poorest family in my neighborhood. In the middle class, and it was always a struggle to get the things that I wanted. I grew up where my father didn't pay the electric bill, he didn't pay the water bill, he didn't pay the taxes, and that carried on in my way into my mid 20s, 30s, 40s, and probably even in my 50s. And the sooner that we can actually condition a young person's mind in a different way can open up doors of perception that he wasn't able to see before.
Got it. Do you have any kind of examples, maybe from the teenagers that you've met in the States or maybe here in Africa? Like examples of just so like scarcity mindset or something around?
Yeah, I had a wonderful time teaching my program or my breakout called Spirit of the Entrepreneur. And it was all about finding the gratitude and the miracles each and every day in this present moment now. I shared my story, and when I shared my story, I saw the eyes of a few kids really light up. One in particular, on the third breakout, came up to me after the program, and he shared with me that he lost his sister by having a coconut hit her head and die. And he said he was living in a muley orphanage, and he told me that with just hearing my story and hearing what I generated in my life, he wanted to become a neuroscientist and never let this happen to anybody else's sister ever again. And it was really touching and moving, not because he said that, but like 4 hours later, he came to me with a complete RPM plan of showing me the outcome that he wanted, why he wanted to do it, and a massive action plan on the actions that he had to take from when he was right now 16 years old to the time he was 30 years old. It blew my mind away and touched my heart beyond what I thought was possible. It was that one little conversation and that one little sparkle that I put, that one miracle that happened in that program made this whole trip, for me, worthwhile. And I'm not sure how many people that I touched, moved, and inspired, but You know, if we can just do that once a day or once every other day to enlighten someone else's mind, especially a young person's mind, it's the ripple effect. We can throw the pebble in the pond and, you know, we don't know what we can create. You know, most people underestimate or overestimate what they can do in 1 year compared to what they can do in 10 years. And I was really shocked and moved by this little guy. And I hope I could do this more often.
Nice story. And so I understand that this teenager, he started to have a vision, and also he got actions, like a plan, like a mini business plan for his idea.
Correct.
After your workshop.
And I wouldn't say it's a vision. I would say it's a compelling future moving forward. You know, we're all on this path together. You know, I learned in Tony Robbins, you know, we're all on a hero's journey. We need that compelling future. And, you know, we're gonna come into some challenges. When we face these challenges, we're gonna find friends. We're gonna find mentors. We're gonna find allies along the path. And we're also gonna find a worthy opponent. And that worthy opponent will teach us lessons beyond what we think is possible. When there's a little bit of pain, there's growth. And when there's growth, there's possibility. And when there's possibility, we can move the world.
So you're saying that pain is normal, like during our journey towards success, fulfillment, whatever we want?
I wouldn't say pain is normal. I wouldn't want to inflict the pain that I've had through my childhood and my adulthood on others. But I think unless we actually struggle a bit and understand the struggle and know that struggle only leads us to something more for our lives, and it makes us we become a better version of ourselves. That's what life's all about, is that we get to raise our standards, we get to step up, and we get to do some things that we've never thought was possible. When we live on the edge, we actually we're able to, dive into a big waterfall. And when we dive in that waterfall, we're going to find some gems.
Nice. But what do you think, what about the students who are super achievers, the ones who are coming to this kind of summit? So they are hearing about the summits and they're saying, but anyway, I'm a leader anyway, or I'm already a super achiever. Why to come to such a summit?
Well, I think that's a very valid question. And I think what shows up in my heart and what I saw was the humility that people get to see. You know, we all come from different, socioeconomical divisions or dimensions in our lives. And, if someone's coming from a really high level and they actually see someone coming in from a prison that was participating, there's some humility there. We start to see that when we start to work as a team, it doesn't matter how much money we have or what kind of clothes we have or what color our hair is or what color our skin is. We all have to work together to get the goal done. And I think that's really important. I think building a team is important. We can't be always lone wolf. I tell my wife all the time, she needs, we get a little help from our friends, She wants to go inward, I want to go outward. There's a balance, and I think that's what this program provides. It shows us some balance, and it gives these kids some humility. So the kids that think that, that come from a very low socioeconomical place, they see these other kids that come from a high, and they're not what they think they are. They actually can find middle ground. And I saw everybody getting along. I saw everybody singing songs. I saw everybody dancing together. I saw everybody smiling. I saw everybody laughing. I saw people holding and hugging, jumping up and down, and just really, being buddies, being friends. And that's what we want. Strangers, shaking strangers' hands, just to shake their hands. Not anything there was no reason, but they were just having fun. And I think that's what we need in life. We need to love more, we need to laugh more, we need to live more, and we need to give more.
I know that from our discussions, I know that you are very well financially. And I'm asking you this because if you are already successful, right, in your career, because at this moment I understand that you are like more an investor, why do you go to all these international events, for example, of Tony Robbins. I know that I think you are a plat at Tony Robbins.
Yes, yes.
And you are doing this for some years now.
Correct.
If you already achieved the financial success that you want, and you have already a relationship, like you have already the loving relationship that you want, what the heck you are going to these kind of things?
Well, just like the kids, we're always becoming our best version of ourselves. But I think the real reason why I'm here is we're here to serve. You know, giving is living, right? When we give ourselves and we serve other people, and when we provide our knowledge and our wisdom and our experience to people that are younger and older to us, we actually be able to help each other along the path, and we illuminate the path and become the light that we are in the world.
But do you think that it's important to have this continued development of education, like non-formal education, to invest in ourselves, even if we believe that, okay, I'm good with this, that there is always maybe a next level?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best investor in the world, Warren Buffett, says the number one thing is to invest in yourself. So why, what you can't, how could you go wrong by investing in yourself? It's allowed me so much possibilities. You know, I remember the first leadership program I did was called Landmark Education, or Worldwide, in Denver, Colorado. I just got fired from my job not once but 3 times. And I was sitting at Arches National Park, and I remember calling my mother up and say, "Hey, let's get me signed up to go to this landmark forum," it was called. And what I got from that was more information, not information, but some real wisdom that I got off the stands of life, and I got back on the court. And if kids can understand that metaphor, by like we live on the sidelines of our life, we live on the walls in the dances. When we get to experience life and we get to live life, we actually fulfill our dreams. And you know, I will say that I can't remember what that guy looked like when I was 25 years old, or who that guy was. And I don't think that 25-year-old kid that where I was at Arches National Park could envision who I am today, and the experiences that I've been able to embrace in my life.
In general, for teenagers are saying that why to start to go towards, creating my successful life. There is a lot of competition out there. If I will not make it, what do you believe about competition and starting?
Well, I've been really investigating this conversation lately. And the best thing that I can say is we got to get on base in life. We've got to continue to get to the plate and swing. If we miss and strike out, we get back up and we actually do it again. We continue to do it over and over and over again. And when we finally get on base, we're going to get on base more consistently. And when we get on base more consistently, we're going to start having doubles and triples. And eventually we're going to have home runs. I never thought I'd be in this position where I am today. I didn't think I'd be career free at 55 years old, traveling the world and just being of service to others. But you know, we're God's children, and I think we're all here for a mission, and we're all here for a reason. And I think my reason is to empower others to do what they want in their lives, and to lead the best life they can live for themselves and for them and for their family and for their community and the world itself.
Mm-hmm. You know that Tony Robbins is teaching that when if you want to achieve, to master the science of achievement, one of the steps that you need to do is to model someone that already succeeded. And I would love to ask you, because like all the teenagers who are watching, they want to get the money first. Like this is the main thing that they want, like the financial independence. What do you recommend to a teenager at this moment? Like, what would be the road? What they need? They need more courage. Like, what is about?
Well, I think it's important not to just model one. I think, Tony teaches in Platt, proximity is power.
Yes.
We have to actually choose who we actually hang out with. We actually, iron sharpens iron in the Bible. You know, we need to actually know that, and like know that who we are spending time with is actually who we are going to become. So be really wise on who you choose. And it doesn't have to be someone older than you. It could be actually someone younger than you that knows, that then understands the word play, or understands the word wonder, or understands the word discovery or experience. Because those things are going to what is going to make us drive and actually connect ourselves to our inner selves, to our true self. Because everything that we have in our life is just layers on top of who we really are anyway. You know, it's just stacked. God created us with so many unique characteristics, and it's just everything else that we put on top of it we think that's who makes us, but we're really, under all that, we're just our true self. So just be very wise who you choose as a mentor, but I would choose many that can actually pull you forward and not push you down.
So how can I find this kind of people? Like, being a teenager, I have no money, I have no environments. What can I do?
Well, I mean, first off is, you can get onto YouTube. You can get onto Facebook. You can, I would strongly, look at Tony Robbins, I would really look at Wayne Dyer. I love Wayne Dyer. I like, there's several, Landmark Education. Get involved in your entrepreneur clubs at school. Get involved in other programs after school. Continue to feed your mind each and every day. That's what I would say. Read a book. Read 10 pages a day. Learn how to meditate. Slow yourself down. Instead of going so crazy all the time, actually find stillness outside. Breathe. Learn how to breathe. It's such an important thing. And if we learn this at such an early age, then we get to know what I call to become the witness. And when we become the witness, we get awareness of what's going on, of how we are being, how we are acting, and who we are going to be able to help, move, and inspire in their life.
So how meditation and breathing is not something that only Hulu something people are doing, like Lulu something, like why it's important breathing and meditation? Like really, like successful people, they are doing this?
Because, there's a sympathetic and parasympathetic. These are type of, of how you be, how your actions are. And it's how your nervous system reacts. And when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, you're very, very active. Your mind's racing. You don't know. But when you get into parasympathetic, you actually slow yourself down. And to find out about this, and when you get into this, it's kind of like a river. And when you get into the river, you get into a flow. And when you actually can get into the flow, you can actually start to be with whatever shows up in your life. And when you can slow your nervous system down, the things like fear that gets in the way of you actually going, if you want to go and meet the right girl, or you want to get the right job, or you want to go on the right trip, or you want to take this job, all of these things will be able to slow your nervous system down and then actually come from your true self.
So it's a lot of things that actually a person has to do, a lot of practical things like meditation, part of the actions in order for you. So because here I wanted to arrive with you actually at this point. So there's a lot of successful business people, they are successful in their career and finances, but on the other areas of their life, they are not succeeding, or they didn't succeed in the first part of their life. And you talked about the true self. So what I understand is that through all this practical, like meditation, like breathing, and all the wellness things that we need to do for ourselves, this is is grounding us in order to arrive to who I am, what I really want in this life. But how I'm doing all these things when I'm like super young and I have a focus to make money, and this is the thing that I'm super interested. And when all the other like business people who succeeded, they are saying that all the time you have to sacrifice something. So there is no balance actually. This like balance life and career, it's like a bullshit.
Well,
like from your experience.
So I'll give you my experience. My grandmother told me I'd be a millionaire by the time I'm 30 years old. But as I went on this quest, I succeeded. But what happened was I gave up love, and I gave up life, and I gave up health. And by the time I was 40 years old, I weighed close to 300 pounds. I had a heart problem. I had indigestion. I had acid reflux. I was diabetic. I had all these things that weren't great. And I went on and I actually tried to improve that. But as I went on and I tried to, increase my business and try to do the things and find the love that I wanted in my life, it wound up becoming a vicious circle. And at 48 years old, I found out that I had a heart problem. I had 2 heart surgeries. And on the second surgery, I actually had an NDE, a near-death experience. So I wasn't supposed to wake up from the second operation. And what I could tell you is when you find out, when you know that you only have one life to live, that's when you start to live your life. And that's really what happened to me. So, I wouldn't want you to chase the money. I wouldn't want you to chase the relationship. I want you to find that wheel. Look at your life as a pie and know that you have health is very important. Put that on top. Know that your relationships are very, very important. Your connection to God, your spirituality, whatever God you believe in. Your time. Life is so precious. Make every single moment count. We have a work and career. Choose the things that actually drive your heart. And what I will say to conclude is God is always going to be there with you. He always has been. I found out at a very late age in my life, at 46 years old, that my mom had a miscarriage during her 5th month of her pregnancy with me and my brother. I was a miracle. God has always been here with me. And what I would actually ask you to do is look at the miracles that are in your life each and every day. Did you wake up and see the sunshine? Did you be able to take a breath? Were you able to take a shower? Were you able to go walk the dog? Were you able to go talk to your mom? Were you able to give someone a hug? Were you able to tell someone that I love them? Were you able to give yourself a hug in the morning? Those are the things that really matter. Find the gratitude in your life for the small things, and the big things will come your way. Don't push, pull. Use the force that God has given us, and it will pull you way beyond what you think that you want and what you need. You're always going to get what you need, but what you want is an option. So you got to actually choose very carefully and be wise by just taking care of yourself. Be present to you. And I think that's the most important thing that I could say here is have a miracle mindset. Know that you are a miracle and that God is always going to be by your side.
Hal, thank you very much for sharing your story from your story. Some kids are going to say, yeah, Hal, but for you it's very nice to talk about all these meditation things and be the miracle and so on, because you made it already. So we are here at the beginning and we are struggling and we don't understand. We don't have the time. They're saying I don't have enough time to do all the things. How am I going to arrive there? I don't have the money. I don't have the family. I don't have the background. It's too hard. It's too stressful.
It goes back to the same conversation that I start with. You got to get on base. You got to start to get up to the plate and swing. And it will come. If you, and we talk about that compelling future in the beginning of this interview. If you continually to focus on that compelling future and you find the allies and you know that you're going to make mistakes along the path and you actually get up, wipe yourself off and you move on, you're going to and have the tenacity to move forward. Great things are about to happen. God is always with you. God will always be with you. And, know that you're here for a reason and a purpose, and that purpose will be whatever that purpose is. But have the gratitude each and every day of that you're just here alive and how fortunate we are to experience this life today.
So do you think that when they are coming to this kind of summits, and they have this kind of mindset: I cannot make, it's too hard, there is a competition, it's too stressful, I don't have the money, the background, the family, and so on. When they're coming to this kind of summits, do you think that they can find a way to push through these limiting beliefs? Like these summits can help them to go to the next level or to break through?
Yeah, I mean, we all have the ability, but are we willing? You know, what are we willing to do in our life? And I think that that's a very important thing. How willing are you to do what you need to do in your life? I think that a lot of people get caught up in significance and certainty, that it has to look a certain way, or you have to have a certain status, you have to have a certain car. You know, I had all that stuff. And you know what? I was a miserable son of a... I'm not allowed to use that word. And but I think that it's important to know that all the stuff will not give you happiness. The thing that gave me the most happiness was my wife. She inspires me to be a better man each and every day. I have much love and gratitude towards her. You know, her name is Veronica, and I think, you know what, the last person that wiped Jesus' face was Saint Veronica. And I feel that she's the same thing for me. She's really saved me from, from being, I don't know if I'd be alive today without my wife. And I have such gratitude for her.
How beautiful. I'm happy that you are here and that you are my guest.
Thanks.
And because you talked about all this, like the wellness things, but I would like to ask you, like, considering some actionable steps for a teenager, what would be the steps that they could, like a puzzle, in order for them to create for a compelling future? You said it's about proximity. So first, like, see who you surround yourself, watch on YouTube things from people that you admire, that you like to be maybe as them, some part of them. Maybe you want, there is a skill that you would like to take from them. So this is something. Then, so proximity. Then you said about going to like this kind of non-formal courses, like you are doing the Tony Robbins events.
Yeah, I would look at every area, like I talked about those 7 areas of your life. I'd find one person that you really relate to, that you can connect to, and start following them. There's all kinds of youth summits for entrepreneurs. There's all kinds of youth summits for leadership. Get yourself involved with Tony Robbins. Get yourself involved with Landmark Education. Get yourself, I would suggest maybe going to a BMI or a Toastmasters for kids. They have it all in every city. Start to learn how to communicate. And then the other thing that I would really suggest is I would actually start to learn how to work. Get a job, try something, not even try, just go out and participate in something that you like to do and see how it feels, so it'll help you along the path. The more, I strongly suggest working at a young age, because I think when you have struggle, you're going to learn, like I said. But I think you're also, when you're putting up against a job, you're going to see what it's like to actually really have to work instead of waiting till you're out of college to go to work. So get some experience now. See what it is. Dabble in a lot of things. And then eventually you're going to find the one thing that lands for you.
Okay. But what is the connection between mindset and making money? Because a lot of people, they are considering, I don't have the money, so I'll not arrive there. And so I understand from you that you came from, you are like a self-made millionaire. You didn't inherited this from your family, right? So give us some, maybe from your experience, because there is a lot of doubt over there. There are a lot of lack of maybe of self-confidence. You try 3 times and then you're going to say, I don't know if it's going to work for me.
I honestly think that I've done this since I've been a kid. And I've said this to Tony, is I ask God what the next right thing today is to do. I lead from my heart, and I speak what I want in my mind. And I create that compelling future by writing it out, by actually knowing what my outcome is, finding my why, and then creating a massive action plan. That's how you can create whatever you want in your life, whenever you want in your life.
But what does it mean to live from your heart?
what does it means to embrace the things that surround you, to find the miracles, like I talked about, the gratitude of the present moment now. It's so important for us to actually embrace this moment together. Like this right here, I'm learning. I see the gift this is to me. I see the gift that I am to you and to the children and to the young adults that are listening to this. Like every moment counts, every message that happens to us. And even all the bad things that happen to us, they are true gifts for us too. They shouldn't be forgotten. They shouldn't be swept under the carpet. Like, learn from those things. Embrace those things. Those are your medicine. When there is pain, the medicine, that's your medicine for you to grow. God has given you this ability to give this experience so you can know what the next right thing is to do. I've had a lot of medicine in my life. I've had a lot of things. I've had a lot of things that have gone wrong. I lost my father at 20 years old. That was a strong medicine. Trust me, that's a lot of medicine to take as a 20-year-old. But you know what? It only made me stronger man. It made me a better man. And now I have my wife. It wasn't always easy. I have a daughter from my wife. It wasn't always easy, and it's still not easy. But that's the medicine, and that's what makes life juicy. It provides texture. It provides contrast. It gives you what's fun. What would it be if you got everything you wanted all the time, right? Like that. It'd be like going to the casino and winning all the time. Eventually, you would be bored to death. So I say go out there, fail a bunch of times, because on the other side of failure, there's always success. And the sun will always shine tomorrow. It will always, and it will come out. And, hopefully it's going to be a sunnier day. And if it isn't, you keep on moving forward. You lean into whatever you want. So what it does it mean to embrace your heart? It is actually to embrace yourself and to give yourself the love to explore and to be in wonder. Don't be childish, be childlike. Explore as much as you possibly can, because in all these hallways that you go down, you're going to find things that it's going to embrace you and touch you and move you, inspire you.
Thank you, Hal. Very beautiful what you said. So what I learned from everything that you said, for me, the word would be like faith. To have faith. Faith.
Yeah, faith. But even Tony told me this: is faith without works doesn't work. So there's action with faith. So you have to actually believe, right? But then you actually have to actually do. Which be, do, have, right? As Ram Dass, right? Be, do, have. So we have to become someone. And that's by doing the breath work, by doing the yoga, by doing the meditation, by doing exercise, by feeding your mind with books, by feeding your mind with podcasting, by actually being of service. You're becoming the bee. You're becoming a better human. But then, doing, the actions of actually doing the service, then those things will come along your way. At your vibration will actually, the more gratitude and grace you give yourself in the world, I think the higher vibration that you'll be. You'll become higher energy, and you'll attract other things into your life that you never thought was possible, that just show up. It's magnificent.
My last question would be about when I'm in the process and something is not working and I feel very bad about myself. What is something that I can do? What do you recommend?
Lean in more.
What do you mean?
Perfect example. Tony Robbins talked about he was a helicopter pilot, and he was going along the coast of California near Laguna. Somehow there was a windstorm, and the only thing that he could do was actually pull his lever to control the helicopter downward. But when you do that, you could immediately crash. And the only thing that he was able to do was actually lean into that. Sometimes when we think the problems in our lives are devastational and they're going to kill us, they're actually the most important things for us to learn. So when Tony went ahead and pushed his lever all the way down, The helicopter didn't go down, it actually went up. So instead of like when we think in our minds, in our egos, right? When we're in our egos, we're looking down, right? But when we want to fly high with the eagles, right? So that's kind of what Tony did. He leaned into to what scared him the most and actually got him to soar higher. So what I would say is when you have a problem, you're going to have to lean into it. You're going to have to get familiar with it. Even if it tastes nasty, it smells, and it's disgusting. Embrace it because it's your medicine, and that medicine will make you much stronger in the end.
So find the treasure in the problem, in the challenge.
Yeah, life is happening for you, not to you. You know, we've heard that phrase before, but it's important for us to understand, to embrace the things that we want in our lives, even if they scare us the most.
Yeah, it's true, because when you go through challenges, then you take the gifts, like the lessons, and then you become better and better and better.
Right. And we you know, most people that are talking, that we're listening, are between the ages of 13 to 19, correct? You got a lot of life. You got a lot of life ahead of you. Make the mistakes, because those mistakes will actually be a course correction to the things that you want in life. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Hal.